And now we come to an incredibly fascinating protagonist who plays a very, very important role in the biblical texts. And now let's clear up what the truth is about this good ruler. With his palace, with the place where he is said to have lived. Is all of this true? It's about Herod the Great, a very important figure in the biblical events. Have you ever wondered why you never? A temple of Herod has been found to be 100% confirmed historically and archaeologically. What you claim is that this is Herod is not true, and we can prove that. It has just been thrown into the room. Let's do it this way. Herod is said to have pursued Jesus. Okay. Yes, but we also know that in ancient Egypt there was the legend of the child Horus, who was pursued by Herod the Great. Herod is the Egyptian version of the later Herod that was passed down thousands of years earlier. Both mean hero. Herod means hero. Herod, too. Which we should clarify anyway. Where the term comes from, heroic in German. Of course, there was never a Herod in this form. No one is simply born as Herod. The Herod. They have a civil name. Why don't you write it down to be able to prove it historically? Because they don't want to. This title, and we can historically prove it, was held as a title by many others as well. Ruler. Okay. Look at Herod Archelaus, Herod Antipas, and many others. I'm almost convinced that the supposed city where he was said to have resided was named that way, only afterwards, to be able to tell a story that didn't actually happen. They attribute Herod to Israel as Herod. That's why it was called Herod. But there's nowhere that says Herod, neither on an inscription, nor on any stone, nor on a rock, nor on a coin. There is nothing. The Crusaders called him the Frank Mountain. Okay, that's Herod. Very exciting. Edward Robbins. Should it be based on the description by Flavius Josephus, which I find very puzzling? Identified as a construction of Herod. The term Herod the Great makes absolutely no sense, because it simply means the Great Herod. But what are they trying to tell us with that? That they give him the name the Great Herod. Was he the Herod because he pursued Jesus? What was his real name? Why are there no Roman records about his identity? They discovered in 2007 there, in Herod, a sarcophagus, and attributed it to Herod. It's that simple. But there were no indications of this name. Not one. The whole city has not a single archaeological piece of evidence pointing to the true Herod. And yet they have agreed that it is so because it fits into the biblical picture. What doesn't fit is made to fit. Hey, think about that. That's the truth. This sarcophagus was only attributed to Herod because it was richly decorated. Hey, hello. Was he the only rich man in the whole region? Whose true name isn't even known. Is that how serious archaeology works? Biblical archaeology. They lead this name back to Hebrew or Greek back, which is already a sacrilege in itself. To be honest, the Egyptian term Herut is significantly older. Not to mention the old ancient Germanic Herod of the Celts. We still say heroic today. Josephus, I'll say it again, is more than a questionable person. More than just a questionable historian. Because he wrote exclusively, only for a whole, for and about a very specific people, of which he claimed it was the first people on earth. from which everything descends. So, with Josephus, I see more wishful thinking and made-up history than truth, to which you are contradictory in many respects compared to other historians. But, of course, people like to refer to him because it supports the narrative. Nothing was found at this site with that name. Herod again, or that points to him. They only found a ring. Now it gets exciting. That was found in 1968. But it was only published in 2018. Hey, that's 50 years. That's already very strange in itself. But on this ring, there was an inscription with the term Pilate. It was concluded that it could possibly be a gift or a ring from Pontius Pilate, but those are just assumptions. Again, why didn't they name the true protagonists in the biblical story with their real names? There are much older records from Sumer, Assyria, the Hittites, the Hurrians, the Phoenicians, the Egyptians, and many other peoples, where we can reconstruct all rulers. Why not here? Especially during the time of the Roman antiquity, an incredible amount was written down and documented. Why not the real names of the biblical participants? Maybe because they don't want to reveal the name and thus could reconstruct the true story that is not intended and wanted. That would at least clearly explain it. Why are no pharaohs, rulers, governors, and others named with their recorded names? Because then they can tell us whatever they want. It's God's work, and no one questions that anyway. And if someone does, it's heresy. Simple and simple.